Hi, everyone. What's different about kitchens and bathrooms than all of the other rooms of your home? They have plumbing. A plumbing system is sometimes taken for granted, but it's a very important part of your structure. And so a complete plumbing system both provides supply of water and removes waste. There's three major parts to your plumbing system: the water supply system, the drainage waste vent system, and the plumbing fixtures. So we've covered the plumbing fixtures already in this course. Today we're going to talk about that water supply system in this video, and then go on to talk about the drainage waste vent system in the next. Most homes get their water from a municipal water supply system. It's typically delivered through pipes, water mains buried below the streets. The water flows through the street main and then to the water line to the house. There is a water meter and a shutoff valve before it enters the house. If you don't live in a municipal water supply area, like a rural house, you could get your own water from a well. You might also hear this water supply system called domestic water. Once it's inside the house, the water has to get to where you use it. It must be conveyed to the point of use. And most houses use the traditional distribution system. First, cold water is going to enter the house through a supply line. All right. Next, it runs through any water treatment devices and then the water heater. Then you have hot and cold water pipes, all right? They're going to run parallel to each other, two different takeoff points where they might branch off. And then smaller branch pipes are going to supply your individual appliances and fixtures. And this is also called a trunk and branch system. So let's take a look at this diagram here. You have the water supply coming from the main, the street is going to be over here somewhere. And right here comes through this shutoff valve and enters the house. All right. Then it will run through a water softener and enter the water heater. All right. The hot water then runs to all of the appliances and fixtures that need hot water, such as this clothes washer and the sink. All right. The cold water, it's the same water it comes in. All right. And then it can branch off to all of the items that need cold. Some fixtures only need cold water supply, such as this hose bib right here and this toilet. All right. Most of them require both hot and cold water. There is another distribution system out there. It's called the manifold distribution system. And in this system, like the other, cold water is going to enter the house through a supply line. It's going to run through any treatment devices and then the water heater. And here's where it gets different. Then the water goes through a distribution manifold. There'll be a cold water manifold and the hot water manifold. And then from there, individual branch lines tap off the manifold and run directly to each fixture. So let's take a look at what this manifold diagram looks like. Again, the water supply is coming from the main out here in the street somewhere. Here's our shutoff valve. It's coming into the house. All right, here's our cold water supply. It's going to run directly to this cold water manifold. All right, or one line is going to run through the treatment device, through the water heater, get heated, and come over here to the hot water manifold. Okay. Then for each fixture and or appliance, you're going to run individual lines of hot and or cold to them. For example, let's take a look at this sink, kitchen sink, because it's like the furthest. See how it's got an individual cold water line running directly to the manifold and an individual hot water line running directly to the hot water manifold. Let's compare these two distribution systems using a diagram like this. On the left, we have the traditional. It's also called a trunk and branch system because you have the main trunk and then the individual lines branch out. In this diagram, the water supply is up here to the top left. It's going to come into the house. The cold water will continue to run in, or you can supply through the water heater and get your hot water. All right, then you have your main trunk lines, and they're going to run through the house. And then branch lines will branch off to the individual fixtures. Let's look at the manifold system. All right, again, the water supply is up here to the left. You've got the cold water coming in to the cold trunk line, or supplying the water heater, heats the water, turns it into the hot trunk line. All right, these main lines go to the manifold, and then each individual fixture gets both a cold and a hot connection. So take a look at this fixture over here. It has its own hot connection directly to the manifold and its own cold connection directly to the manifold. The benefits of this manifold system is that it requires fewer fittings, so smaller diameter supply piping. In general, they use PEX or flexible piping for this system. And the major benefit is that it provides an equalized water flow and helps to maintain constant pressure to the supply lines, so you don't get that big drop in water pressure when another fixture is being used. The disadvantage of this manifold system compared to the traditional system is it's more expensive. So if you see something like this while you're touring a home, this is the manifold system. This right here is your manifold distribution. All right, so the water is going to come, here's the hot water and cold water come in right here. And we're going to have cold water lines come out this way and hot water lines come out that way. Thanks, everyone. We just kicked off our study of plumbing systems, taking a look at how the water gets into your house, the water supply system.